بینندگان گرامی تلویزیون ایران تیوی، با 16مین برنامه تلویزیونی بیبا در 14 جون 2003 به پایان دوره اول برنامه‌هایمان رسیدیم. عده زیادی از شما احتمالاً موفق به دیدن این برنامه‌ها نشدند و نظر به درخواست پخش مجدد مجموعه برنامه‌های دوره اول بران شدیم که این 15 برنامه را برای شما بینندگان گرامی باز پخش نماییم.
خوش آمدید به نهمین برنامه بیبا. از اونجایی که شاید تعدادی از بینندگان ارجمند ایران تیوی تا به حال برنامه ما را ندیده باشند، اجازه می‌خواهم که توضیح مختصری درباره خودمان به شما بدهم. من بابک امامیان، بنیانگذار British Iranian Business Association که به فارسی ما به خودمون میگیم سازمان مدیران ایرانی مقیم انگلستان و مختصر بیبا. بیبا پس از 9 سال فعالیت دائم در انگلستان به خوبی شناخته شده است. علت تهیه این برنامه معرفی بیبا به دوستان عزیز ما در آمریکا است، با امید آنکه این باعث گسترش روابط اقتصادی بین ایرانیان مقیم انگلستان و ایرانیان مقیم آمریکا بشود. حال بپردازیم به برنامه امشب که مربوط به رشته کامپیوتر است. ما همیشه در بیبا گفتیم که به انگلستان به چشم توریستی نباید نگاه کرد، بلکه باید به انگلستان از 3 زاویه نگاه کرد. اول به انگلستان به عنوان یک بانک جهانی بزرگ، دوم به انگلستان به عنوان یک دفتر حقوقی بزرگ، سوم به انگلستان به عنوان یک مرکز تکنولوژی باید نگاه کرد. و در بیبا در این 3 مسئله ما همیشه خیلی فعال بودیم. حال امشب برنامه ما در رشته تکنولوژی، مخصوصا در صنعت کامپیوتر است. من یک مصاحبه دارم با 2 تا از دوستان بسیار خوبم، آقای سالار گلستانیان و مرتضی تهرانی. حال بپردازیم به این مصاحبه. خوش آمدید به برنامه امشب. من امشب واقعا مفتخرم که 2 تا از دوستای بسیار خوبم، آقای سالار گلستانیان و آقای مرتضی تهرانی، 2 تا از متخصصان تاپ در صنعت و کاربرد کامپیوتر با من هستن که هر دوشون واقعا نه تنها فعالیت‌های فوق‌العاده‌ای با بیبا داشتن، بلکه در رشته‌های خودشون فوق‌العاده موفق بودن. اگه مرتضی اجازه بده من اول از سالار شروع می‌کنم. سالار، میشه لطفاً خودتو معرفی کنی و بگی که در چه رشته‌ای، چطوری به اینجا رسیدی و چیکار می‌کنی الان؟
من سالار گلستانیان، تخصص من در اینترنت تکنولوژیه. من 14 سالم بود که
تخصص در تکنولوژی
اینترنت تکنولوژی.
اینترنت تکنولوژی. اوکی.
من 14 سالم بود که به این کشور اومدم و دانشگاهم.
کدوم دانشگاه رفتی؟
دانشگاه ساری.
چه رشته‌ای؟
فیزیکس.
و دکترا گرفتی، درسته؟
بله. دکترام در حقیقت بیشتر تو کامپیوتینگ بود. بعد از اون مدتی کارهای مختلف میکردم، ولی از سال 95 100% تمام وقتم رو کارهای اینترنت بود.
یعنی دیدی که آینده پول توی رشته کامپیوتر
100% از ساعت 8 صبح تا 12 شب و کارمون فقط
تو کامپیوتر بوده. حالا بعدا از این مثلا پولی در آوردی یا نه، اجازه بده اول از مرتضی بپرسم چیکار کرده.
حتما.
مرتضی جان خودتو معرفی کن لطفاً.
چشم. مرتضی تهرانی. من 18 سالم بود که اومدم انگلیس، لیسانسمو دانشگاه برایتون گرفتم.
در رشته
کامپیوتر شاگرد اول شدم تو دانشگاه برایتون. خیلی ممنون. بعد نزدیک 18 سال تو
قسمت کامپیوترشون باهوش بودی یا درس زیاد خوندی؟
جفتش مثلا. بعد در 4 تا شرکت کار کردم که اصولا در قسمت‌های با عنوان‌های مختلف تو قسمت کامپیوتر کار کردم.
آخرین شرکتی که شرکت بزرگی که براش کار می‌کردید، کردیت سوئیس، فرست باستون، یکی از بزرگترین بانک‌هایی که اینقدر اسمش دهن پر کنه. اولا تو چرا یه شرکتی کار کردی که اینقدر اسمش دهن پر کنه؟
مانیتوکس.
پس حالا هر چی پس اسم تر باشه پولش هم بیشتره؟
لطفاً. بله.
خب من مرتضی از چیزی که می‌خواستم بپرسم اینه که تو در یکی از جلسه‌ای که از شروع کنیم، در یکی از جلسه‌های ما توی بیبا گفتی که رشته شما صنعت کامپیوتر از سال 2000 it's in recession. That's what you exactly said. From year 2000, you said from March 2000 it's been in recession. Has it recovered from recession or not?
No, it's actually got worse. We can see the number of redundancies in the companies and a lot of telecommunication companies going out of business. We can see it's getting worse. There's a lot more consolidation.
Bad news. Where's the future?
The future is that there's going to be some very big players and some very niche players in the market.
So you have niche players and you have
very big
players.
Big players.
So it's time when the strong gets stronger and the weak gets weaker. Is that what you're telling me?
That's right.
And you're the strong one.
One of the strong ones.
I love it. Okay, now you tell me. What do you think about this?
به نظر من از سال 2000 تا حالا درسته که همه کمپانی‌های بزرگ دارن کاست کاتینگ میکنن، ولی به نظر من این کاست کاتینگ‌ها باعث شدن که catch 22 and everything is getting worse and worse. The moment the cost cutting stops, I think we're going to see the light.
So once the cost cutting stops,
yeah,
what happens then? Usually there's a growth. People going to go back into the sector.
I think the underlying trend is definitely upward. What happened in 2000?
In what? In investment or in career-wise?
The underlying trend for the need for IT, the need for buying computers, it's still up. The number of computers sold last year is more than the year before. It's continuously going up and up. What happened in 2000 is that venture capitalists came and threw lots of money into the industry, and that was a mistake. And once, okay, right now everybody decided, right, no more money, but the moment this cost-cutting exercise stops, things will get back.
Okay, Moheza, this is what Salah is hitting at. The late 90s, where people were investing in internet companies, it was a big con. People were conned into investing. Is that the case?
I absolutely agree. There was a very big hype that going on. There was
a hype. It was not a con.
I think there was some element of con, but I would like to call it as a fashion that had a very good phase, but that phase is gone, and people are realizing that the share prices cannot keep going up and up and up.
Okay, so people were investing in it, and now people have lost money.
They were investing blindly. They did not know what they were investing. And because I think everybody was following a trend, everybody was like ahead following the leader, and they got burnt. You
gave me an example early on. Could you mention that for our information about that English telecom
sure,
company?
A big telecom, one of the primary telecom carriers in this country, bought a mobile company in Netherlands for 1.2 billion euros.
1.2 billion euros.
And that was July 2000. So we're not talking about many millions of years ago. We're talking about nearly 2 years ago.
1,200 million euros.
That's right. Yesterday they sold that same company for 18 million pounds.
18
million pounds, which is really 25 million euros.
25 million. My God. So what do you say to that? That was a big con?
It wasn't a con. It was just a mistake because the people in charge were financiers. They had no idea of technology. They made the mistake because they were financiers.
So you mean these people had no IT knowledge and they were investing other people's money into IT?
I believe so. In my own organization, I've told them many times, one of the companies, I don't know whether I'm allowed to say it, but one of the companies is in chapter 11 at the moment. But I was constantly saying that, what are you doing? You're making a big mistake. But my voice wasn't heard because the guys at the top were, in fact, the guy right at the top, he was, in fact, a basketball coach.
Okay.
Now, what does a basketball coach know anything about?
But you were collecting your fees, yeah?
True. So I shut my mouth, and that's where we are today.
Okay, tell me, Sadar, with all this, what happened in? First of all, before I get to that, but a lot of good was done, wasn't it? I mean, the new technology, new internet. It was okay. Instead of being financed by public sector, it was financed by private sector. A lot of people lost money, but it wasn't all losses. A lot of new technology was introduced to homes, to our schools, to our hospitals. So there was some good, wasn't there?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the best legacy we're going to have from this period is that the infrastructure, which was connecting the continents together, connecting all the buildings together using fiber technology, which is glass technology that transfers data at the speed of sound. And provision of ADSL to homes, for example, that you'll be able to see TV and listen to the music real time on your PC. So a lot of that was done. What was missing was that the content that they need to do to push through those infrastructure to be able to make it worthwhile.
Okay, so Sarah, now I come back to you. Now you're the more optimistic of two of us.
Absolutely.
You tell me, how do we get the investors back into IT industry?
The investors should look at the underlying trend. Underlying trend, it's still being in every aspect of IT is getting better. Not huge numbers that they were talking about in the late 90s, like, oh, next year is going to be double. It's not going to be double. It's going to be just 20% or 10% more. If you take those numbers, those
but
realistic
20% is still a lot.
It is a lot, yes.
But even you're exaggerating maybe again.
I'm not, because in late 90s, I saw IDC reports saying that, yes, by next year, we're going to see twofold, threefold increase in number of internet users. When you see that kind of figure, obviously the guys which are at the top, financiers, they just look at that and say, yes, I mean, we got to pump money in this. And that's where it went all wrong.
Okay, Sarah. Now, I'm not trying to get personal.
Okay.
At Biba, we are very grateful to you. You were the first one to introduce internet to us. I remember in November 95, you came to our meeting and he gave us an excellent presentation about internet, which, by the way, he never managed to connect. And we got so bored that we said, just tell us what internet is about. Yes. But then that evening, you made 6 predictions.
Absolutely.
And I have them. And only 2 of them have come true.
Yes, unfortunately.
So how can we trust, people in... I appreciate it's a new technology. I really appreciate. Yeah. But your predictions, people, keep wrong. It's new technology and new economy. You keep getting it wrong. How can we trust you now?
Okay, well, my predictions was that it's going to happen in 10 years' time, which is 2005.
Oh, you give yourself 2 more years.
2005 hasn't come yet, okay? But at the same time, you see, nobody's got a crystal ball. One of my predictions was that email is going to be used more than traditional post office letter.
Okay.
Okay, agree? Now, it is used more today. But the downside...
Not that postage. It hasn't replaced postage.
Well, the number of postings of emails is higher than postings by letter.
Okay.
Agreed?
Okay.
Yes. We all agree with that. But the problem is, I didn't foresee that email is going to be misused. So every morning I wake up, I get 200 rubbish emails, which have zero, I mean, it's just bombarding, spam.
Okay. Now I want to come back to here. This is one of the predictions. A lot of people predicted. They went to companies, like the company I work for, and they said, we can replace the entire sales force with a new economy. You allow us to put the internet system into you. You don't need salespeople anymore, and the sales are usually the most expensive aspect. Is that how you got your business in late 80s, 90s?
What computers and IT don't do is human interaction. If you want to sell something to somebody, you need to be able to see them in the face, and they need to relate to you. So build the confidence so you can sell. IT is only a tool. Okay. What you need to do to add to that is the processes to be able to use that tool properly. For example, if you go into a home and trying to sell a mortgage, for example, if you're a sales guy, you'll be able to make a decision with the person there and then, because you'll be connecting to your computer to be able to get the mortgage calculation sorted out. I don't think computers can replace sales guys. What computers can do is replace repetitive processes, and computers don't make mistakes. Human beings do.
Okay. Now, on that question, but you got something else on the computer, which is you also managed to take a lot of jobs away from local communities to places like India through this what is done, or other companies, which is nothing wrong with it. We now live in a global village. I have no problem with that, moving jobs or changing communities. But where are we going with that?
One of the main reasons that IT is going to be used more and more is that companies want to cut cost, because the businesses are not generating enough revenue. So by reducing the cost, the profit shows better. And again, today, if you look at the papers today, there were 2 major companies in states that announced major profits, but the underlying cause of the profits wasn't that the revenue were increasing or the profit margin were increasing, only because they managed to reduce cost. One of the sources of the most expensive part of IT is people who do the management of the computers, who do the programming. India produces 1.2 million graduates every year, whereby the cost is 20% of
How many?
what
1.2
2 million graduates, IT graduates every year.
Okay.
They are all English literate. They are all
do they
familiar with
have
the
the-
latest technology. They will get trained up in the latest trend in technology, whether it is object technology, whether it is internet technology, web technology. And what is allowed it to happen is the communication platform between India and the rest of the world.
But do they have the actual, the kind of planning of things and products? Do they have that, or just the operators they carry out the?
You're absolutely right. I think that the design and the creativity still happens here. What they do, they actually execute the action.
What do you say to that?
Well, I personally don't agree completely, because I was for a period in charge of hiring people in India, and I found that it is really difficult. First of all, the rates wasn't that much different. Of course, it was different.
Between where? UK and
India. I mean, what they're asking for, by the time you pay the middleman, etc., is not far off to the rates here. And unless it's changed. But I agree with you. Late 90s, 2001, that was definitely the case, because here people were asking for £500-600 a day, and there it was like £50-60 a day.
But now people are asking for the same amount here?
Now the rates there seems to have gone up, and the rates here have gone down.
Okay.
So there we are.
Okay. Now, here Mortaza was talking a lot about the way it's going forward in IT is as a cost-cutting exercise. That's what he was saying. What about generating revenue, increasing? Do you see any new areas in generating revenue there? Any new opportunities?
I think most certainly, if an organization is intending to invest money in a new product, the product has got to be has a leverage to other alternative products in the market, and unless that is there, it is pointless pouring money into a product where there's lots of competitors today.
So, could you put that in plain English?
In plain English, in a market where everybody's trying to cut costs and the prices are going down rather than up, it's difficult to invest in anything unless what you're investing in has got a real advantage to other products in the market. Similar.
What do you mean by products? I mean, what products? What is good now?
As an example, I mean, today I go to a phone shop and I see hundreds of phones, and they precisely do the same thing. And you get the big
You mean
boys,
mobile phones?
Mobile phones, yes. And you see the big boys investing lots of money in identical products. I don't personally see that these products have got any advantage over the other products, unless one of these has got a real difference, makes a difference. Then
okay, but here Salar is saying product with extras. I don't need all the extras. I mean, there are so many functions on my mobile phone. I never get to know all of them. So where is the next area of growth or opportunity in IT?
The next growth is in the services industry within IT. What we are saying is the shift.
What do you mean by services?
What happens if you imagine IBM? IBM was the biggest manufacturer of hardware and software, and they were making 100% of their revenue from those areas. IBM today makes 60% of their revenue from services, which is they moved up their stack value. Rather than selling hardware to you, they sell you how to use the hardware.
Okay.
So this is a massive growth area in IT, where it is, instead of a company going and hiring IT literates, they go to IBM, and IBM will sell you those services.
Mm.
So what has happened is that the companies have moved from a fixed cost scenario to a variable cost scenario. So when the market times are good, they can open the tap and get more services from IBM. When the market conditions go south, they can turn it down, rather than have the employees to get rid of, and so on and so forth.
So this is what, again, you're talking about cost control.
It's cost control. It comes to what is known in IT as total cost of ownership, TCO.
TCO, total cost of ownership.
Right.
Right.
So for example, if you have two investment banks that they do similar work, if one costs the cost of transaction, which is settling a trade that you do, you buy a share, for example, if it's $3, then you got another firm that is $1.50, you can see the margin $1.50. More people will be able to go to this company. Therefore, this company will struggle.
Okay. Now, thank you very much, first of all, both of you, for being here. On the last question, Maury, you've been in charge of what, £50 million a year budget and 300 people, and you've recently come back from working in Manhattan for what, a year or so?
Maybe 9 months, yes.
9 months, yeah. So now, what message do you have for our friends in US about how to link with UK businesses in IT and working back? What message do you have for them?
I think continue the collaboration, continue using the forums that is there to be able to keep the link, because one of the unfortunate disadvantages of the current market condition is that the firms have consolidated the research R&D back to States to make sure that they do look at the requirements, because every culture have a different requirements from IT. Therefore, to just make sure that the train of research travels between the two centers.
Okay, so just more communication.
More communication.
And
doesn't harm.
Opportunity would come up.
A lot comes from communication and networking.
Networking, and then go back to IT.
And I think what you should do, you should really aggressively network within both here and within the States.
Okay, thank you very much. What suggestion do you have for that?
Well, I mean, I fully agree with you there. I mean, and more technology used to create these communities, the better. And these communities, you got to nurture it, and you got people like
you
yourself.
Mean business communities, or professional communities?
It's in all aspects of. I mean, there are lots of avenues that you can go to nurture these communities, and these communities, as they grow, they will help your business expand, and you now have the whole world rather than your local communities.
And how do you see UK playing a role in this?
Well, UK is strategically placed in the right place between East and US, and we speak the right language and the world language, and that's why I think UK is so important in the development of IT business in the next 10 years.
You agree on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Salah, thank you very much. I hope this time your prediction would be better.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you again. And next time I hope you work for a company with a simpler name.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
امیدوارم که از برنامه امشب لذت برده باشید. شما را به